So I was sort of forced to get into acting, but I wasn't thinking of it as a career. It was only a way to pass English.
At 82 years old, Linda Evans remains a vision of grace and beauty. If you saw her today, you might mistake her for someone in her 50s. She appears to have lived a life of perfect health, happiness, and serenity.
My dad had just died. We didn't have any money. There was no way I could say no because it was like an incredible gift.
Completely untouched by time or hardship. But appearances can be deceiving. Behind the elegance and poise is a life filled with struggles, heartbreak, and challenges that few could endure. Her journey has been anything but easy, and only recently has she revealed just how much she has been through. So, what was her life truly like? How did she overcome so many hardships while maintaining such strength and grace? Early life. Before you understand the struggles and tragedies that shaped Linda Evans, you have to know where she started. Her early life seemed promising, almost ideal, a world filled with art, love, and opportunity. But life had its own plans. Linda was born on November 18, 1942, in Hartford, Connecticut, into a family of artists. Both of her parents were professional dancers, so creativity was always present in their home. But unlike many Hollywood stories, she was not a child prodigy, nor was she eager to be in the spotlight. In fact, she was painfully shy. When she was still young, her family moved to North Hollywood in search of better opportunities. There, she grew up with her two sisters, Carol and Kathy, in a home that was supportive and nurturing. With parents in the entertainment world, it seemed natural that Linda would follow in their footsteps. But she struggled with confidence. She avoided attention, kept to herself, and found social situations overwhelming. That all changed in high school. At Hollywood High, she was encouraged to take drama classes, not because she dreamed of acting, but because it was a way to help her overcome her shyness. At first, it was just an experiment, but once she stepped onto the stage, something clicked. Acting gave her a sense of control, a way to express herself without fear. Slowly, she started to enjoy it. With each role she played, she became more comfortable. What started as a way to build confidence turned into a passion. By the time she graduated, she was not just a shy girl who had conquered her fears, she was someone who wanted to act for a living. Her career began at just 15 with a small role in a television commercial. It was a simple gig, nothing groundbreaking, but it sparked something in her. More roles followed, like guest appearances in shows like Bachelor Father, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and Wagon Train. These were not leading roles, but they gave her the experience she needed. Bit by bit, she was making her way in Hollywood. She was not an overnight sensation, but she was proving herself, building a career, gaining confidence, and showing the world what she could do. So what happened then? What was the turning point in her career? The turning point. Before Linda Evans became famous, before Dynasty made her a global icon, there was the Big Valley. This was the moment her career took off, the first real turning point that changed everything. In 1965, Linda landed the role of Audra Barkley, the youngest daughter of the wealthy Barkley family. This television role was her big break. Audra was beautiful, confident, and strong-willed, and Linda played her with just the right balance of charm and depth. She was more than just a pretty face. She brought real emotion to the character, making Audra more than just the young daughter in the family. And audiences noticed. For 4 seasons, The Big Valley was a success, running until 1969. The show made Linda a recognizable face in Hollywood and gave her the credibility she needed to move beyond minor roles. More importantly, it helped her realize her own potential. Playing Audra gave her the confidence to aim higher, to take on more challenging roles, and to truly step into the entertainment industry as a serious actress. But as much as The Big Valley was a defining chapter, it was just the beginning. Because what came next was Dynasty, and that would change her life forever. When Dynasty premiered in 1981, no one could have predicted just how massive it would become. The show was a glamorous, high-stakes drama about the wealthy and powerful Carrington family, filled with love, betrayal, and cutthroat rivalries. And at the heart of it all was Crystal Carrington, played by none other than Linda Evans. Crystal was the moral compass of the show. She was a kind, intelligent, and elegant woman who married oil tycoon Blake Carrington, played by John Forsythe. But it was not just their love story that kept audiences hooked, it was the legendary feud between Crystal and Alexis Colby, played by Joan Collins. Let's be honest, these two defined 1980s television drama. Audiences were obsessed with their rivalry. Whether they were throwing drinks at each other, trading insults, or even physically fighting, Crystal versus Alexis was a defining part of Dynasty's success. But Linda's performance as Crystal was not just about the drama. She brought depth and grace to the role, making Crystal more than just the nice character. She was strong in her own way, quietly powerful, unwavering in her values, and always holding her own, even in the most intense moments. And the world took notice. Between 1982 and 1985, Linda was nominated for multiple Golden Globe Awards, winning in 1982 for Best Actress in a Television Series. She also received several People's Choice Awards, proving just how much audiences adored her. In 1983, she even earned an Emmy nomination, further cementing her status as one of TV's biggest stars. But it was not just Linda's acting that made her famous. Her style on Dynasty was just as influential as her performance. Crystal Carrington was the epitome of 1980s glamour. She wore elegant gowns, fur coats, sophisticated evening dresses, and flawless makeup. And let's not forget her signature blonde hair, always perfectly styled in voluminous waves. Women everywhere wanted to dress like Crystal Carrington. Her fashion choices became trends, inspiring designers and influencing how women styled themselves during the decade. Even off-screen, Linda carried the same sense of effortless elegance. She made simple outfits like crisp white shirts, jeans, and long coats look timeless and sophisticated. Fashion was not just a part of her character, it became part of her legacy. Of course, Dynasty was not the only thing Linda Evans did. While television made her famous, she also took on film roles, proving she was not afraid to step outside her comfort zone. In 1979, she starred alongside Lee Marvin and Robert Shaw in the action film Avalanche Express. Then in 1980, she appeared in Tom Horn, the last film ever made by legendary actor Steve McQueen. These films didn't bring her the same kind of fame as Dynasty, but they showed that she was willing to explore different roles and challenge herself as an actress. And of course, fans could not get enough of her as Crystal. In 1991, she reprised her role in Dynasty, The Reunion, a special TV miniseries that brought the Carrington family back for one last chapter. It was a nostalgic moment for fans, proving just how much people still cared about the story and characters. Even though Dynasty had ended, Linda never stopped working. She continued acting, appearing in various TV, movies, and guest roles, but she also started exploring life outside of Hollywood. She took a step back from the industry, focusing on personal growth, spirituality, and wellness. And the thing is, despite being one of the biggest TV stars of the 1980s, Linda Evans never let fame define her. Yes, she became a global icon. Yes, she was one of the most recognized actresses of her time, but she also remained true to herself, always prioritizing happiness and fulfillment over chasing Hollywood success. That's what makes her different from so many others in the industry. Linda Evans's career was filled with success, but it was not without challenges. She dealt with personal struggles, heartbreak, and difficult moments, things that were not always visible behind the spotlight of Hollywood. The personal struggles. Linda Evans's personal life was filled with ups and downs, moments of deep love, and heartbreaking betrayals. While the world saw her as a glamorous Hollywood star, her personal journey was anything but perfect. She faced some of the most difficult challenges in love and marriage, proving time and time again that she was stronger than the pain life threw at her. In 1968, Linda married John Derek, a well-known actor and director who was 16 years older than her. At 26, she was young, in love, and hopeful about building a beautiful life with him. Derek was a man with undeniable charm and a strong presence in Hollywood. He was not just her husband, he was also someone who helped guide her career. He encouraged her to take on bigger roles and push herself in the competitive entertainment world. At first, their relationship seemed perfect, but it wasn't long before the cracks started to show. Derek had a reputation for being passionate, but also controlling. Before Linda, he had been married to actress Ursula Andress, and there were already whispers about his complicated love life. Linda, being young and deeply in love, didn't see the warning signs at first. She wanted to be the best wife she could be, and when Derek made it clear that he preferred her to focus on their home rather than her career, she listened. She sacrificed opportunities, put her ambitions aside, and prioritized their marriage. But even giving up parts of herself was not enough to make things work. Slowly, Derek's controlling nature became more apparent. He had a say in everything, like what she wore, who she spent time with, how she lived her life. At the time, Linda believed that making compromises was just part of being in love. She wanted to hold on to the relationship, even when it became clear that things were not as perfect as they once seemed. Then, in 1973, came the betrayal that shattered everything. Derek started an affair with 18-year-old Mary Kathleen Collins, later known as Bo Derek. It was not just an affair, it was a public humiliation. Derek did not try to hide it. He took Bo overseas to Germany and Greece, dodging legal trouble because of their 30-year age gap. The world watched as he paraded his new love while Linda was left behind, dealing with the heartbreak in silence. For Linda, it was the lowest point in her life. She felt abandoned, insecure, and completely lost. The man she had trusted had not only betrayed her, but had done so in a way that the whole world could see. Bo, a younger, fresh-faced beauty who had taken the place she once held. But despite the pain, Linda refused to lash out. She remained silent, choosing dignity over drama. In 1974, after 6 painful years, she made the difficult decision to walk away. The divorce was heartbreaking, but it also became a turning point. She was done sacrificing herself for someone else. She called her manager and made it clear that she was ready to return to acting. And what happened next proved that no heartbreak could break her spirit. Within a few years, she landed the role of Crystal Carrington in Dynasty, the role that would make her an international icon. In the end, she came back stronger than ever. Years later, after John Derek's passing in 1998, Bo Derek admitted that she regretted her role in the downfall of Linda's marriage. She acknowledged that as a young woman, she didn't fully understand the pain she had caused. But by then, Linda had long moved on. She had already built a life beyond that heartbreak, proving that her strength would always be greater than the pain she endured. After divorcing Derek, Linda found love again. In 1975, she married Stan Herman, a successful real estate entrepreneur. This time, her relationship was not with a Hollywood insider. It was with someone who could offer stability, something she desperately craved after the chaos of her first marriage. In the beginning, things seemed different. There were no scandals, no controlling behavior, just the hope of a peaceful, loving marriage. But despite the love they shared, their differences became impossible to ignore. Linda was still deeply connected to Hollywood, and Herman, coming from a different world, struggled to adjust to the pressures that came with being married to a famous actress. They wanted different things, and over time, the gap between them grew wider. In 1979, after 4 years together, they made the difficult decision to part ways. There was no public drama, no bitter fights, just two people who realized that love alone was not enough to keep them together. After 2 failed marriages, Linda did not rush into marriage again, but that did not mean she stopped believing in love. She went on to date several high-profile men, including actor Lee Majors, the star of The $6 Million Man. Their relationship didn't last long, but it certainly caught the media's attention. It was 2 television icons together, so it was a Hollywood story the press could not get enough of. One of the most significant relationships in Linda's life came in 1989 when she fell in love with Greek musician Yanni. Their relationship lasted nearly a decade, and Linda often described it as one of the happiest times in her life. Yanni brought her peace, something she had been searching for after years of love and heartbreak. Although they never married, their relationship was strong and filled with mutual respect. It was one of the few times in her life when she felt truly at ease in love. Unlike many of her peers, Linda never had children. Some may wonder if she ever regretted it, but she has made it clear that she doesn't. She chose to focus on her career, her relationships, and building a life that made her happy. She didn't feel the need to conform to what society expected of her. Instead, she found fulfillment in other ways, whether through her work, her friendships, or her personal growth. Looking back, it is clear that Linda's personal life was not the fairy tale romance many imagined it to be. She experienced love, loss, and deep heartbreak, but she never let those experiences define her. She walked away from toxic relationships, embraced new beginnings, and proved that a woman's worth is not determined by the men in her life. Despite the betrayals and the pain, she never stopped believing in love. But her personal life was not the only challenge she faced. Beyond heartbreak and betrayal, Linda also had to confront serious health struggles that tested her resilience in an entirely different way. Health and scandals. In 2014, Linda experienced a severe health crisis. What started as chronic back pain soon became unbearable. The discomfort was constant, affecting her mobility and quality of life. Doctors prescribed strong painkillers to manage it, but the relief came at a cost. At the same time, she developed chronic fatigue syndrome, which left her drained, unable to function as she once had. Simple tasks became exhausting, and the life she had once lived with energy and confidence now felt like a distant memory. As if that was not enough, a neck injury from high-intensity sports training made things even worse. The physical toll on her body was overwhelming, but the mental and emotional strain was just as severe. The pain consumed her life, leading her into a deep depression. She later admitted that at her lowest point, she even considered giving up entirely. The thought of living in constant pain seemed unbearable. Then came a public incident that shocked her fans. That same year, Linda was arrested for unsafe driving, a moment that quickly became tabloid fodder. People speculated, assumptions were made, and her once flawless image took a hit. But the truth behind it was far more serious than many realized. During the police investigation, officers found 30 painkillers in her handbag. Linda explained that they had been medically prescribed to help with her severe back pain, but she had not been fully aware of how they affected her ability to drive. It was a heartbreaking moment. Someone who had always carried herself with such dignity and strength was now facing public scrutiny over a deeply personal struggle. But rather than hide from it, Linda addressed it openly, making it clear that she was not using the medication irresponsibly, but was simply trying to manage the intense pain that had taken over her life. As if the physical pain and public ordeal were not enough, another blow came. She began losing her hair due to cortisone treatments. For someone who had been a symbol of beauty for decades, this was devastating. She had spent her career with her signature blonde locks, a look that had inspired countless women. Now, that part of her was slipping away too. But instead of hiding in shame, Linda chose to embrace the change. She started wearing wigs, not as a way to cover up, but as a way to take control. She spoke about her experience in interviews, sharing how she had struggled with the emotional toll of losing her hair, but ultimately chose to see it as part of her healing journey. She refused to let this define her or take away her confidence. In many ways, these struggles forced Linda to confront something even deeper, her own sense of identity. Looking back, she realized how much of her life had been spent trying to please others. Whether in relationships or in her career, she had often sacrificed her own happiness to fit into the expectations of those around her. The pain she endured during this period forced her to step back and reevaluate what truly mattered. Determined to heal, she made a choice. She would no longer live for others. She prioritized her mental and physical health, focusing on recovery and self-care. She sought balance, peace, and above all, control over her own life. Linda has always believed that every hardship carries a lesson, and she took this belief into her healing process. She found strength in her lowest moments and proved, once again, that she was more than just a television icon. She was a survivor. But she didn't just keep these lessons to herself. She used her experiences to help others. She became an advocate for health awareness, especially for conditions she had personally battled, like chronic fatigue syndrome. She wanted people to understand these invisible struggles, to see that even those who appear strong and put together can be fighting battles no one else sees. Her influence extended far beyond acting. She shared her wisdom through her books, Linda Evans' Beauty and Exercise Book and Recipes for Life, where she opened up about self-care, health, and the importance of balance. And then, of course, she has a life outside the spotlight. A life beyond the spotlight. In 2021, she returned to acting with a small but powerful role in the film Swan Song. Her performance reminded audiences of her talent and emotional depth. The role was brief, but it carried the same presence that made her a star. Fans welcomed her return, appreciating her ability to bring authenticity to every role she plays. Health and wellness have become essential to her daily routine. She follows a healthy diet and maintains a fitness regimen that keeps her active. Yoga plays a significant role in her life, helping her maintain both physical flexibility and mental clarity. She has spoken about how yoga allows her to start each day with a sense of peace. Her book, Recipes for Life, includes personal stories and simple meals that reflect her approach to self-care. Cooking has become another way for her to stay connected to moments of comfort and reflection. Linda continues to encourage self-acceptance and inner confidence. She rejects rigid beauty standards and believes in embracing change with grace. In early 2025, she shared a heartfelt New Year's message, encouraging her fans to discover their true selves and believe in their dreams. At 82, she remains active, optimistic, and engaged with the world, proving that fulfillment comes from how one chooses to live each day. Now tell us, which of Linda Evans' performances is your favorite? Are you a fan of Dynasty, The Big Valley, or one of her films? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. Stay tuned for more stories about your favorite stars.